Hi, Isaac. And maybe even your brother Silas is going to watch this. But this is your Nai, and I'm ready to read you another book. Today I'm going to read you Curious George. Curious George is about a monkey, and both your Yaya and your Nai read this when we were little. So we hope that you'll enjoy it too. Curious George is written by a man named H.A. Rey. This is George. He lived in Africa. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. One day, George saw a man. He had on a large yellow straw hat. Can you see the hat in the picture? The man saw George too. What a nice little monkey. Can you see where the monkey is? I would like to take that monkey home with me. He put his hat on the ground, and of course, George was curious. He came down from the tree and looked at the large yellow hat. The hat had been on the man's head. George thought it would be nice to have it on his own head. He picked it up and put it on. Does that hat fit him? Oh, I don't know. The hat covered George's head, and he couldn't see. The man picked him up quickly and popped him into a bag. George was caught. Oh no, George is caught. The man with the big yellow hat put George in a little boat, and a sailor rowed them both across the water to a big ship. George was sad, but he was still a little curious. Do you think George knows where he's going? I don't think so. On the big ship, things began to happen. The man took off the bag, and George sat on a little stool, and the man said, "George, I'm going to take you to a big zoo in a big city, and you will like it there. Now run along and play, and don't get into trouble." George promised to be good. But it's easy for little monkeys to forget. On the deck, he found some seagulls. He wondered how they could fly. He was very curious. Finally, he had to try. It looked easy, but do you think George can fly? Oh, what happened? First this, and then this. What happened? He fell right into the water, didn't he? Where is George? The sailors looked and looked. At last they saw him struggling in the water and almost tired out. See, they can see him through the window in the boat. "Man overboard!" the sailors cried, and as they threw him a lifebelt, George caught it and held on. And at last he was safe on board. Oh my goodness, that curiosity got that monkey into trouble, got George into trouble. After that, George was more careful to be a good monkey until at last the long trip was over. George said goodbye to the kind sailors, and he and the man with the yellow hat walked off the ship onto the shore and onto the shore and into the city to the man's house. See the man's got a suitcase and there's other stuff the other guy's helping him carry? Yeah. After a good meal and a good pipe, George felt very tired. Look at those silly pajamas. Do those fit George? I don't think so. He finally crawled into bed and fell asleep at once. Looks like he has a nice bed, though. The next morning, the man telephoned the zoo. George watched him. He was fascinated. Then the man went away. George was curious. He wanted to telephone too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, what fun! See, that's an old-fashioned telephone Your mom and dad don't have that kind anymore, but that kind he can move a little thing on it and it would make it spin. Ding-a-ling-a-ling, ding-a-ling-a-ling. George had telephoned the fire station. The firemen rushed to the telephone. Hello, hello, they said, but there was no answer. Then they looked for the signal on the big map that showed where the telephone call had come from. They didn't know it was George, a monkey, who made the call. They thought it was a real fire. Hurry, hurry! The firemen jumped onto the fire engines and onto the hook and ladders. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, everyone out of the way! Hurry, hurry, hurry! See, those are old-fashioned fire trucks. Aren't those funny looking? Yeah. The firemen rushed to the house. They opened the door. No fire! Only a naughty little monkey. Oh, catch him, they cried. George tried to run away. He almost did, but he got caught up in the telephone wire. See how the wire hooked up his legs? A thin fireman caught one arm, and a fat fireman caught the other. Oh, you fooled the fire department, they said. We will have to shut you up where you can't do any more harm. And they took him away, and they put him in a prison. Oh, no, what is George going to do? And what will the man with the yellow hat do when he comes home and George isn't there? Oh, George wanted to get out. He climbed up to the window to try the bars. Just then the watchman came in. He got on the wooden bed to catch George, but he was too big and heavy, and the bed tipped up and the watchman fell over, and as quick as lightning, George ran out through the open door. So there's the man, and then the bed flipped up, and George ran out the open door. He hurried through the building and out onto the roof. And then it was really lucky he was a monkey, because he walked on the telephone wires. Quickly and quietly over the guard's head, George walked away, and he was free. Oh, that's a silly monkey. Now, down in the street, outside the prison wall, stood a balloon man. And a little girl bought a balloon for her brother. George watched. He was very curious again. He felt that he must have a bright red balloon. He reached over and tried to help himself. But, can you see George up there? He's trying to get the balloons. But instead of one balloon, the whole bunch broke loose, and in an instant, the wind whisked them all away, and with them went George, holding tight with both hands. Oh, look he's way up in the sky. Would you be scared if you were way up in the sky with balloons? Oh, I think I might be. Up, up he sailed, higher and higher. The houses looked like toy houses and the people like dolls. George was frightened. He held on very tight. Look, there he is. People are way down here. At first, the wind blew in great gusts, and then it quieted. Finally, it stopped blowing altogether. George was very tired. Down, down he went, bump, on the top of a traffic light. Everyone was surprised. The traffic got all mixed up, and George didn't know what to do. And then he heard someone call, "George!" He looked down, and he saw his friend, the man with the yellow hat. Can you find the man with the yellow hat? Where is he? Is he over here? No. Over here? No. Oh, here he is, the man with the yellow hat. Oh, George was so happy, and the man was happy too, and George slid down the post, and the man with the big yellow hat put him under his arm. He paid the balloon man for all the balloons, and then George and the man climbed into the car, and at last, away they went. Look at the balloons flying out of the car. And they went to the zoo. What a nice place for George to live. The zoo had many more things that George could play with. And you see all the other animals? What's that animal? I think it's a giraffe. How about that one? What's that? A penguin. And that's the end of the book. And there's a picture of the birds up on the wire. I hoped you liked our book, Curious George. I'll read you another one soon. Love you. Bye.